Good afternoon. I know I've not uploaded my other videos, like the part 1 and part 2. I guess this is going to be part 3. The last two videos was about Ukraine, but today I am going to specifically talk about Israel and probably the US elections. So, let's start with Israel. At this point of the game, anyone who continues to support the Palestinian genocide, they don't care about freedom. They don't care about human rights or any of those things. And you continually see more and more and more videos of Israel being the most savage as they can possibly be. And you still have people trying to defend this ethnic genocide. There is a trend that I see a lot. There are people who try to call nuance. It is also true for many different topics, but I'm going to specifically talk about Israel. There are those who just flat out denies that Israel is committing any wrongdoing. Then there's this crowd who tries to portray nuances. Like you're going to say, it's complicated. You need to understand the nuance. A lot of time, these will be the people who are liberal Zionists. They will try to portray, both sides have done equally bad things. We're just trying to defend ourselves. They try to downplay the atrocities of what the Zionists are doing. They will try to, every time you try to push on these people who try to do nuances, they will always going to end up trying to outright ignore atrocities that Zionists are doing. They just outright denying. And these people, I'll give you an example. Just recently, Jesse Gender made this big video about it, criticizing Israel, and then you have this whole bit of liberal Zionists going after him, and he tried to say, look what the Palestinians did to us. And he made a new video trying to bring these nuances while completely ignoring the root cause of the genocide, and its original video is no longer there. This is a form of censorship that is happening, and the West always cries about, the communism is against freedom of speech. Meanwhile, you're not allowed to criticize Israel, or you are going to be censored. This point was made abundantly clear at the DNC. And at the recent DNC convention. I am not going to go to all the details and the different speeches and the nuance of what is happening that took place over there. But the one point I am going to highlight: the Democrat Party had pro-Zionists on the stage, they had Republican on stage, they had a wide range of people. They were on stage. As Jon Stewart pointed out, you had this people who are in completely different end of political spectrum, but the one group of people that were not allowed to be on stage are those who were pro-Palestine. Not only they were not allowed, they were not even allowed to be on premise. They literally went step by step to try to get everything that they need to be on stage, and they tried to be as mild critical as possible, and even tried to endorse Kamala. But if they allowed them, and they given a list of different people, nope, they were not allowed in. Hassan was kicked out of the DNC because he was interviewing pro-Palestinian. Now, this is criticism of a recent video that Bad and Canada made about the DNC, and I'm going to point about Hassan. He thinks that he didn't even took the time to truly view his whole video as to why he was kicked out. No, he just saw those snippets. If you actually took the time to watch the whole thing, he was literally kicked out of the DNC. They removed his pass. He was physically kicked out of the place because he was pro-Palestine. Now, there's more I want to say about in Canada, about his recent video, but I'm going to wait until I talk directly about the state of affair of the US. Let's just say there's certain things that he made that I disagree with, certain points that I agree with. I'm just going to leave it at that right now. I'm just going to leave it at that for now until I specifically deal with the U.S. elections. But I do want to go back to the Israel stuff, and there's actually new things that actually came out yesterday that is recent news that is happening. So, Israel, I was talking about nuance. There's times to have real nuances, there are times there's not. When you and this is a conversation that I had with a lot of liberals. They try to get some nuances. Like my aunt, I know I talked about this before, but my aunt is a perfect example of this. My aunt tried to say both sides committing evil, so they're equally in the wrong. One is a colonial power. One has all the guns, all the is not this bilateral equal peer circumstance. You have a bully trying to take lands from Palestinians. They will kill anyone that they disagree with. Human rights groups has shown that Israel is committing 42 different war crimes on a regular basis, like literally annually rape to death their prisoners, civilian, and humiliate them in ways that is beyond measure. We literally have stories of Israelite who was slightly or mild criticism towards the government. She was taken in the cop car in a body bag. They put a head cover, they cover her head and stuff it in a police car because of our pro-Palestinian views. And you want to talk to me that Israel is a democracy? Is the only democracy in the Middle East when they do stuff like this? You want me to believe that Israel is this great beacon of freedom when they have two sets of different laws between Palestinian and Israel? But I see the argument. But you see, there's 10 million more Palestinian under Palestine. They're not committing genocide. They're also in the parliament. You heard the drill. You heard their arguments. But what they don't tell you is that Palestinians are under martial law. What they don't tell you is that they have to go through checkpoint after checkpoint after checkpoint in order to go into work. There are people who has to get up 2 o'clock in the morning in order to be at the job at 8 o'clock in the morning, and they can only work till noon, so they have to go all to the checking point again. So much for freedom and human rights. It's funny how these nuanced people always ignore this kind of lack of freedom. It's kind of funny that I was listening to a doctor, like just a regular doctor who tried to help Palestinian amidst these atrocities, and he just talks about it as if, at first I thought all the atrocities they're just fake news. I didn't believe them. I went there on a daily basis. I literally have kids being shot in the head. It didn't happen once, not twice. On a daily basis, you will see patients, children, being shot in the head. That is not okay. That is a war crime. And you want to make me believe that this kind of action is justified? You don't think that this kind of actions is not going to radicalize the Palestinian? No wonder that the Palestinians have a favorable view of Hamas, because there are only people in Gaza who's willing to take a stand against the Palestinians. They're the only people around. But what about the LGBTQ people? They're against the LGBT. What is more important? Your ability to feed yourself, the ability to live, or the ability to have sex with a fellow man or fellow woman, if you're like, have homosexual sex. What's more important? And according to you, like, if you are in that situation, if you're living in this lifestyle where you're not even allowed to live, would you actually give a damn if you're not able to have sex with the same sex? Would you give a damn about that? Of course not. You want to actually live. You actually want to be able to feed yourself. You actually want to be able to have drinkable water that are not poisonous to drink. After all, before the bloody genocide, 92% of Gaza, the water was undrinkable because the borders were controlled by Israel. Not allowing concrete to go in so they can build wells. Yeah, okay. And of course, there's the such thing of the mowing the lawn. There's a policy that Zionists love to do where they are going to mow the lawn. What does that mean? They're literally going to destroy the crops. They're going to literally kill people. The systemic wipes on their population. Wow. That's such a glorified thing. Such a good way to live. Like, the more I learn about the situation in Gaza, the more atrocious that it becomes. Like, the atrocities that these people commit on a daily basis is abhorrent. Like, there's literally a report, like, it was mainstream media has started to they reported a story of children drinking sewer water. I repeat, children are forced to drink sewage water. That is just disgusting. That is something that only an evil man will do. Like today, this was a video that was posted by the Majority Report, where a blonde Zionist talking about nothing really that major issue. It's not a really big of an issue. It is only talking about how it's only talking about a Palestinian, a Zionist, blonde Zionist, saying colonization is viewed as a bad thing in the West. It's usually viewed as a bad thing. I say it's actually good. I want to be a colonizer. I want to go colonize Gaza. And I'm looking forward to colonize it. These people are savages. We're just going to bring civility to these savages. Oh, and there's no such as a Palestinian as an ethnic group. It's just made up term. So we're not ethnically cleansing. See a slight problem in that statement? See a little problem with that statement? Talking about Palestinian as if there's just people. Oh, and where'd they go? Oh, Russia will accept them. Europe will accept them, and they can go anywhere they want, anywhere outside of Israel. We don't want them. That's pure definition ethnic cleansing. By definition, is committing a genocide. But genocide is about dead people. A lot of people will say, no, it doesn't have to be. This is something called cultural genocide. Here in Canada, we did a cultural genocide on the Aboriginal people. The residential schools was a cultural genocide. What was the policy of this genocide? Oh, by the way, since we're good Westerners, Canada was never been charged with our war crimes or genocide because, flash news, residential school went till 1991. That was when the last residential school closed its door. And we want to say that the West cares about human rights when we do shit like that on a daily basis. When we when we ignore our own freaking atrocities that we commit. And of course, don't forget, the only reason Zionists are able to do this is because the West keeps supporting the Zionists. They keep supporting them over and over and over again and 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 again. They keep supporting this genocide. This is no longer a joke. This is no longer a thing to make fun of. Like it's no longer just. It's just something to just brush it off. It just highlights the hypocrisy that the West talks about. It's like they cry about Russia committing genocide in Ukraine when they do shit like that in supporting shit like that in Israel. It's just utter disgusting. It's utterly laughable. It's just utterly laughable. If that is not enough, like there are stories now that there are protests where Zionists are saying they should have the right to commit war crime on their prisoners. That it's okay to rape to death, electrical people to death, rape them, and all kind of atrocities. Because they can. And it's utterly laughable. And I keep listening this talking point of, well, the whole war in Gaza will end if Hamas will surrender and give up the hostages. It will end right now. Well, you know what? It's not Hamas who's unwilling to do this. It's Israel. They made it clear that they don't want a temporary ceasefire. A permanent ceasefire. It's only a temporary ceasefire. Hamas just keeps, even the last round of deals, Hamas said, sure, I'm more willing to accept your deal of a permanent ceasefire. I will give out the hostage and all that. What is the timeline to make this deal happen? What is it? You know what Israel did? Just said, screw off. Screw you. We're not gonna do that. We want to get our hostages back, and then we're going to bomb you again. Because this war is not going is not going to end until every single Hamas members are dead. That kind of attitude only shows one thing. Once again, they don't care about ending this war. What they want is to kick every single 2.2 million Gazan out of Gaza. 2.2 Palestinian that is in Gaza out of Gaza. That is their goal. It is no longer there's no longer any nuance. It's just a outright genocide that the Zionist wants to do. And the liberal Zionists, they can go screw themselves. There is no nuance. There is, I will repeat, there is no nuance. Proportionally, Israel is far greater evil than the Palestinian has ever done. And in many ways, Hamas are more humane than Israel. We keep hearing horror stories about Hamas. You know what ended up happening when the hostages get rescued? If they let them talk, they usually say, they treat us good. They usually, you have accounts after accounts where Hamas are not doing as evil things as what the West wants you to believe that they're doing. But the true atrocities that the people are doing are the Zionists. Like in the last raid, where they save some hostages. Not only there was some Hamas soldier dead, but there was a whole bunch of civilian death that took place, and some of the hostages died. We don't know how many soldiers died, but we do know they did die. But we're not allowed to hear that story. This whole thing is just disgusting. And you want me to and I remember at one point, I was debating this Calvinist, where he was talking about nuance. It's complicated. I was bringing up. Okay, he was talking about how the Arabic country kicked out Palestinian out of their countries but we never talk about those things and all of that. It's like, oh, okay. I bring up some CIA documents where they outright demonstrated that they were the one who actually caused those things. You know what was his response? That's just conspiracy theory. Excuse me. What about the Ethiopian Jews that were sterilized? Oh, that's just another conspiracy. There's no proof for that. What about the fact that you have policies of where they literally kicked out Palestinian other lands, or the whole Nakba? He never once mentioned about the Nakba. He never once mentioned about how the whole Zionist project was designed to kick out Palestinian. Not once he has ever talk about those things. Like, I literally just watched a video clip of Zionists before Israel was founded, before the whole project started. You had little Zionists talking in the British Parliament saying that this is going to be a great thing for the British Empire. That we need the British support to make this happen. Literally planning the colonization of Israel with British support. And they want to ignore this kind of historical fact. Benny Morris, a conservative scholar on Israel, he wrote books on this topic. And there was this journalist, I'm forgetting his name. It's Hassan something. It's like Mr. Hassan was. I'm forgetting his actual name on top of my head. And there's a clip of him saying this. It's like it was talking to Benny Morris, and he said, "I don't know which Benny Morris I'm talking to. There's the Zionist I'm talking in front of me, and the one in this book, where in this Benny Morris in this book, he outright admits that Zionists literally kicked out the Palestinians of their land. They literally committed crimes to get where they are. So which Benny Morris I'm talking to? And you see Benny Morris goes into a brain fart because he knows that he wrote these things, and he has to explain away how his work literally contradicts his narrative today. Like another person who did this was Norman Frankenstein, where he had a debate with Benny Morris, and there's also Destiny there. But at one point, he just kept hammering Benny Morris' own book back to Benny Morris, showing how his today's stance is completely different than what he writes in his books. And it is something that I've noticed about scholars, about propagandists. And I can make a video on this topic alone, how academia will talk about a whole slew of things that doesn't get the message out to the public. And quite often, what the academic settings demonstrate contradicts the mainstream narrative. Now, of course, the conservatives absolutely hate that, because who cares about intellectualism, about being intellectual, and about accuracy, about facts and logic, all of those things. Who cares about those things? But they have a different narrative. This whole thing just demonstrates the hypocrisy of everyone who are pro-Zionist, whether you're liberal or hardcore Zionist. There is no such thing as nuance. A certain topic, there's no nuance. Like, that was the one thing that was pissed me off about listening to these liberal Zionists try to create nuance. Both sides are done equally bad. No. That is just plain wrong. And one side has been demonstratively been worse than the other. And when someone lives in such condition, they have the right of self-defense. And notice how these nuanced people never actually gives the permission that the Palestinians can have self-defense. Not once. But Israel has the right to self-defense. When you are literally having an open-air prison, no, you don't. I'm sorry. But no. If you are literally a colonizer who's committed crimes, no, you don't have the right to self-defense. And you want me to condemn Hamas as a terrorist organization when you can't even agree that is the idea of is Zionists are terrorists? Yeah, you can go screw yourself. I am not going to call Hamas a terrorist organization if you can't even call the idea of the Zionist project is a terrorist project. I will not do it. And if you don't agree to those terms, that only means one thing. You want the genocide of the Palestinians. You are a pro-genocide. That is a basic fact. And if you're pro-genocide, guess what? You lose all rights to talk about human rights issues. I don't care. I don't care if you think that the communists are bad. This goes to a this Polish guy. He was he was like the prime minister or something like that for the Polish government, and he was on Value Entertainment. And he was talking about how the left is supporting Palestinians, but he also talks about how Poland is right to not have any Muslim coming in, and because they're the most extremists and it causes the more damage, blah 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 blah. Being an anti-Islam. I saw. Then of course he talks about well, in Poland we banned both the communists and Nazism in our because they cannot promote those things. But are we actually going to ever talk about Nazism? No, we're not. We're absolutely not. We're not going to talk about the Ukraine Nazis. No, we're not. We're never going to talk about it. We're never going to talk about how the Ukraine Nazis actually fucking killed more people than the communists did. We're not going to talk about how we ally ourselves with the fucking Nazis. Where we continue to ally ourselves with the fucking Nazis. How we're supporting this fucking genocide. No, this is totally fine. The left are crazies to support the Palestinian cause. And I'm like, dude, I don't give a shit. What? Oh, you're being a fascist? Okay, you're a fascist. According to Spanish, you're a fascist. Stop pretending you're not. You support with Nazism. You support fascism. And if you are supporting this genocide, you are a Nazi. That is plain and simple. Oh, by the way, there's the longest there's a lot of talks about how the Netanyahu government wants to invade most of it in the West Bank. By the way, there is no Hamas in the West Bank. It is the Palestinian Authority that are in there. You know what the news that we recently heard? They decided to invade West Bank anyway. They decided to invade West Bank. There's already about 600 Palestinian dead. That is just sick. And I do not hold any respect for such people. I don't care if you think that I don't care at all if you are pro-Israel. If you're pro-Israel, then you're pro-fascism, Nazism. That is that simple. And I'm not joking about that. It's like, enough is enough. There's one group of people who continually try to steal more Palestinian homes day in and day out, and who are willing to commit tremendous amount of atrocities. No matter what. And by the way, the whole October 7th, the more I'm learning about October 7th, the more I'm like, yeah, that it was just bound to happen. Israel purposefully built towns around Gaza as basically military outposts. So no wonder the Palestinian attacked those settlements. The whole festival things, that should have been green-lit by Palestine in the first place, when they know how dangerous the border is in the first place. And about the 1,200 people, we know a lot of it, like something like 300 to 500 people were military targets. Then we also know, because of the Hannibal doctrine or something like that, where Israel will kill their own civilian so that Hamas don't take hostages. So we don't even know how many people, civilians that Hamas did killed, versus what we don't even know, like who shot who. Like how many people that were died by Hamas versus how many people that died by the IDF. Does the Western world talks about that? Of course not. They don't talk about this kind of actual nuance. Notice what I just did. It was not this fake nuance of where, like, well, both sides are done equally good, and it is and it's really hard to get. No. And it's complicated. So try to highlight something that Hamas did, or blah 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 blah. I literally explain that both sides are done evil, and what these are the actual numbers. And it's not this one side who is just committing atrocities, and here's the difference. Which usually just puts Israel in a much evil light. It is utterly sick to promote these kind of ideas. It's utterly sick to promote Zionism. There's nothing good in it. If you're Zionist, that means you're pro-genocide. It is that simple. It also shows the hypocrisy of Christians. They love supporting this genocide and ignoring the atrocities. But what about Iran? What about the Houthis? What about them funding Hamas? Blah 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 blah. Okay, let's dwell about that for a second. Did you know that Iran were one of the main people who tried to negotiate a peace deal? And Israel shot the political wing of Hamas that was doing the negotiation. They tried to have peace talks in Iran. They only retaliate when Israel are doing crimes against them. You already, like, we know that Israel and the US wants a war with Iran. Back in 2008, you literally have policies makers saying, we want to make the nuclear deal to try to bring up a hope with Iran, and then later on, we're going to rip it apart. We're going to create a contention, and we're going to blame Iran for the contention. So we're going to invade them. You know what ended up happening? You literally have Donald Trump following these policies where he ripped out a nuclear deal. They keep increasing tension with Iran. We literally have Israel bombarding Iran and those things. They're literally trying to make a war with Iran. The new Iran leader talk about how they wanted to make a deal with the U.S. to have peace and all of that, but they cannot trust them. That's something that has come out yesterday. In other words, it's not the Iran or any other Muslim countries who doesn't want peace. It is Israel who wants to destabilize the region. There is even a greater Israel project where they want to go into Egypt, around it. They want to expand their borders and grabbing a whole bunch of lands that is outside of Israel. So of course they try to don't want peace in the Middle East, since they want more land, and their leaders are openly talking about it. This is society talks about it as if it was nothing. It is not these like few bad apples. It's the entire Israel society who wants those things. It is just the sickening perversion of reality. And this is where I despise liberals. Destiny is a prime example of this. He will not condemn Israel. They will do everything. They will always end up supporting the U.S. empire. I guess I'm going to, even though I said I try to do, I guess it's good transitioning towards U.S. politics, because there's not much really left to talk about Israel, because the genocide is still happening. And the U.S. doesn't keeps funding it, and we're pretending that everything is fine. Now, let's pivot towards U.S. politics and the current election cycle. Yes, there are some liberals like Vosh and Dylan Burns and Destiny, who they will always bloody fucking side with the U.S. empire. They will always try to create nuances, and essentially it always boils down to let's support the U.S. imperialism no matter what. Oh. It is insane. It's like there and this is the video about Palestinians, like he's quoting Vosh and the measure report Hassan and another person. I'm forgetting her name right now. It's not just the genders, but I'm forgetting her name right now. And this video what essentially is basically equating all of these people the same. Vosh is a horrible human being. It is disgusting that you try to equate Vosh with the Major Report or Assad. Like, I am sorry. It's like, I understand the point he's making that even a small vote have to use that pressure to try to end the genocide, instead of just keep voting blue no matter who. I don't vote. I believe the system is just rigged. There's no point of voting. It's always going to be either a liberal or a conservative. True progressive is never going to be there. True, it's like no. The game is rigged. And I don't really believe that withholding your vote is actually going to make a big difference in the long run. I understand the principle behind it of you're making a stance. And I just have mixed feelings about that topic. It's like, should you only vote for a single issue? Should it be a single voter issue? And this is where I kind of have like mixed feelings about, because who's to say that you were right in the first place? Isn't it? No, sorry. I was thinking about something else, but right now, you literally have Donald Trump doing his Trump thing and basically wants to be more hawkish with the Palestinian than the Biden is doing. It literally called Biden a weak Palestinian as a slur. That is just disgusting. It's just a way for them to critique. It's a way for okay, sorry. I have to start over. The Democrat Party Yes. Okay. I don't remember where I was going with it. Trump and the conservatives, they are going to continue pushing it further right. That is just a plain given. They just want to be more fascist, and they're going to be more fascist. That is just a part of the game. And Biden was... He was just being moderate. But then he was pushed out, and then Kamala came in. So the new Kamala campaign. The shift in the tone has dramatically changed ever since she got in charge of the campaign trail. Especially with her pick as her vice president, Tim Walz. Tim Walz, by and large, has been the most progressive governor that the U.S. has seen in the longest time. He has gave free education, university free education, free school meal. Like, he made a whole bunch of laws that really are progressive. And Kamala says she wants these kind of policies. And this is where, like, the Mitchell report and Hassan is been really who reported of this kind of things. Kyle Kalinske is another person who's also doing that. And I agree that the everything I hear about Tim Walz I really like. It's like his policies, everything he's doing is. He has some great policies. Where he fails, it is a whole Palestine issue. And then, by the way, like before this switch, I will be saying that Trump is going to win. But now with the switch, I see everything has been happening. I'm sorry, but I'm thinking that Kamala Harris will be the first woman president in the U.S. Everything I see, the polls I'm seeing, the energy, the thing that I'm seeing is literally shifted towards the Democrat favor. And there's no way that at this point Harris can lose the elections. The ash she puts out, the attack she puts out, even the whole weird thing. It's like the conservatives are just weird. Even I have to agree that that's such a great attack. And yes, conservatives are weird. Their obsession with trans and LGBTQ issues is baffles me to no end. They're the one who continually talk about these issues day in and day out, as if they're the number one threat in this country, in the Western world. They're just weird. And their obsession with abortion. Like they will deny women victim of rape the ability to have an abortion. It's just utterly insane. And yes, and people is like, but people should cool off, but it doesn't help. It doesn't help how creepy the conservatives are keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Like J.D. Vance, the VP of Donald Trump. The VP of Donald Trump is he's one of the most creepiest guys I've seen in a long time, where he is obsessed with women not having babies. That if a woman doesn't give birth to babies, she has no right to talk about politics. We can see videos of him talking about this kind of things, like his obsession of women has to give birth, and it's the only real value for a woman is they have to bring babies, otherwise they have no value whatsoever. You know what? But yet, that's exactly what the conservatives are. Like I was watching Charlie Kirk trying to defend this position. And it's just disgusting. It's just, they don't know what to do. Their policies is, they have no policy. The policy is essentially is, well, Project 2025 is their policy, which is deregulate the market, make abortion nationally, so on and so forth. It's like being fascist as it can possibly be. Typical, that's what they are. They'll continue pushing in that direction. The issue of the border. Kalkaniskin made a really good point. The Cato Institute made a study where they showed how Biden, not only by gross numbers, but also proportionally, Biden has deported more people, more immigrants than Trump did. And we know that Harris' policy, and again, policy is to be hawkish on the border. So the idea that the Dems are for open borders is just pure lies. It's just another lie that the consumer wants to stack on top of everything else. It's just disgusting. It's just their way to try to discriminate people that does not feel fit the mold. So they're not helping themselves to not be called out being weird, and here's a perfect example of how conservatives are being weird, and how the whole like transphobia crap is just a way for a political talk. For the longest time, these fascists are always like. They keep saying, what is a woman? Which is essentially their definition is you have to have the right body parts, they are able to give birth, genitals, like they're really, they have to have the right body, like genitals and able to give birth, blah, 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 blah. That is what a woman is. Then here it comes, and he's like, yeah, intersex exists, and that's a different story. Like, it is only about 2% of the population. Blah 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 blah. Then here comes the Olympic boxer fiasco, where it's not even confirmed. There's this massive theory that she might have XY chromosome. I don't care about if she actually has this deformed, this anomaly, this genetic anomaly or not. But the fact is that they're trying to say that this women, by the way, she's from Algeria, who are extremely transphobic country, so they're not allowed trans to exist. Calling her a man because she might have an XY chromosome, because XY, because genetically she has to be a man, because only men can have XY chromosome. Moving the bloody goalpost. It's no longer that that a woman can only be called a woman if she has the proper body part, the proper genitals, because this woman definitely has the proper genitals. She can give birth and all of that. No, she has to be genetic. That just shows how unserious conservatives are. And the turfs, like J.K. Rowling, they don't care about women's rights. They only care about a specific type of women. And of course, we knew they were liars. We knew for the longest time that TERFs are liars. We knew that conservatives don't care about women. This was all political ploy as a way to control women, as a way to distract the narrative, as a way to distract economic. It's just economic issues, and of course, it just shows how weird the conservatives are. At the end of the day, so at the end of the day, these people don't care about facts. They just go about their own feelings. They have their own little hate things, and they go from one issue to the other. And ultimately, they just want a fascist country. That's a fascist theocracy. Ultimately, that's what these people want. Well, only the rich do whatever the fuck they want. Oh, of course, don't forget about climate change. You're still the whole topic about climate change could be a whole different topic. Video, and at some point I'm going to have to talk about climate change, but in the case, this is why you don't give an inch to fascists. But at the same time, here is the going back to the Biden Panama video. So you have literally a party who is out of their fucking mind, who want you're literally going to have religious leaders this is Jeff Durbin. He is a pastor. He's fairly Jeff Durbin is very well-known pastor in the U.S. He came out that we should give the death penalty for women who has abortions. We have literally senators talking about people talking about we need to bring back the death penalty for the LGBTQ. We're literally talking about people who wants to criminalize abortion. So this is the issue that is a plaguing. You have the Palestinian genocide that is happening. But then you have all the other insane issues that the U.S. citizen has to deal with. So in a sense, it's a catch-22. If you let the conservatives win, well, guess what? Your freedoms are going to be taken away. Because that's exactly what the fascists stated. Or, and by the way, part of Project 2025, yeah, they also want to abolish the EPA, FDA, and like a whole bunch of regulation that tries to deal with climate change. No, they want to create as much pollution as possible. So you have that aspect as well. Yes, you have the Palestinian genocide happening right now, but we already have a bloody fucking problem with fucking climate change on our hand. And the conservatives are not going to do jack shit about it. So you're literally stuck in, should we let the fascists win? That's going to basically ruin our fucking lives. Or are we going to let or try to support the Palestine? It's a catch-22. Yes, I agree. Yes, I agree with the point that Panel is making, that yes, maybe you should hold your vote as a way form of protest. If it is small, I understand that point of view. I also see the point of view of what Cal Kalinske is making about and by the way, the whole catch-22 thing. That is something that's something he made this point with last night, which I find a very, very smart point. Is like, it's a catch-22 of this kind of infinite of how do we get what we want, and we have a whole bunch of fucking neoliberals who tries to limit those progress. So it's like you're damn if you do, you're damn if you don't. That is the bottom line. Like, and this is the issue with being a single voter issue. Is that if you're just doing this single vote, like if you say, this is my number one issue and we're going to do this no matter what, then you're going to ignore all the other social issues that is also happening. It's just to say, and this is a kind of nuance that I see that is being made with like Hassan and Kalkansky in the mission report. Now, people like Dylan Barr and Vaj, blah 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 blah, they're just fucking neoliberals. That's who they are. They just support the neoliberal establishment no matter what. So they're not true progressive. They're just simply neoliberals. So, yeah. And I won't blame to say that if you don't vote, you're not voting for to be a you don't vote. Like, you have to be a single issue voter, otherwise you're not a comrade. It's not always straightforward. This is where this is what real nuance is, because I am not denying I'm not denying the whole Palestinian genocide. I'm not denying it. It's horrible, and there's no real answer to it. There's massive censorship happening. At the same time, I also understand the point of, if you let fascists in, your freedom is also going to be taken away. So it's not that easy of an answer. And I'm going to leave it at that. On this note, have a good day. Till next time.